self-worth and self-love. Isn't this so common for people to not love themselves, to not have good self-worth or good self-love? You see it as soon as someone sits down, they'll apologize for many things that they don't have to apologize. They find it hard to look you in the eye, and they find it hard to accept appreciation, to accept compliments. You can already read this in a client from the moment they sit down, how they sit, their body language, very evident. And I understand them totally, because I came from that place myself personally. Absolutely no self-worth. And I didn't love myself. I didn't think I was of value. I even recalled when I'd be at a party, I would just slip out and I would never say goodbye to my friends, because my thought in my head was, what do they care if I'm here or not? I mean, who cares if I said goodbye or not? I'm not worth it. And I felt guilty for actually saying goodbye to people, because I thought I'm not really worth saying goodbye to. That's pretty sad, having such low self-worth. I didn't like myself at all. And I had a lot of self-destructive behaviors. People that, smoke and drink, or their self-destructive behaviors, which I had, show a level of lack of love for the self, or putting up with abusive relationships, or putting up with negative relationships. It's a form of low self-worth, because the person's actually saying, well, that's what I deserve. And this is something we are forever trying to shift, forever trying to get into this feeling that we can love ourselves. And in Australia, they have the tall poppy syndrome, like, don't like yourself too much. It's one of those things that you look like, they'll say you're up yourself if you're saying that you like yourself. It's sort of a tradition to put yourself down or criticize yourself. Whereas in America, they're quite different. It's quite okay to say, yeah, I'm great, because, that's just their culture. And in Europe, I was very curious in Europe when I was living there. It was quite fascinating to see the children, because the children ran the whole family. The world revolved around the children. I was an au pair back in Italy, and everything would be in relation to the child, the dinner time and what they would do, and they would focus their attention on the child and give that child so much attention from every family member, and adore the child and let the child speak, let it express itself, and just give it lots of affection. Now, that brought up precocious children for sure, but I'd never really met a child that had low self-worth. If they were brought up in that sort of environment, they thought they were the best things ever. They just thought they're invincible, and they had lots of personality. And I like that about the Europeans, that they would really value the children, and you could see that in their adulthood. You could see how they were quite confident and they liked themselves. Something to learn from that. And so Australians, a slightly different culture, we're not as open with our affection, and children often can play a second role. It all depends on just your upbringing. I'm not saying that all Europeans bring up their kids with lots of love and affection. It can be quite the opposite sometimes. They can actually be quite hard. However, the upbringing in childhood often reflects the adulthood, of how a person will feel in their adulthood. So finding self-worth changes lives. It changes everything, because the person then creates new belief systems, it creates new vibrations, and makes different choices in their life about bringing to them what they think they deserve. So helping them to know that they are worth more, that they are of divine worth. Very powerful and a very loving correction. So in the self-love healing, there will be some affirmations to end up on, which is there's a list of affirmations that you can choose from for the client to say at the end of the healing. There is a recreation healing and a love and light immersion correction. So very beautiful, bringing lots of good feelings into the client, lots of shifting of these emotions, telling them that they are of divine worth. And some clients never hear that. I actually had a client say to me, no one's really ever hugged me till you did. Or I said, oh, well, what about your husband? And she said, well, aside from that, like no one outside of her family life really hugs her. And I found that quite sad. So some clients that come to you, you never know, that first sense of caring, that first sense of love that they really feel. So treasure that moment that you can do that and allow that connection to happen, and keep your vibration nice and light. And you love you, because you need to be able to show them how loving yourself can happen, and that keeps the vibration up for them to come up to that level, and they see you loving you and they think, oh, that's how it's meant to be. I'm meant to love myself, because no one's ever told them to love themselves. So let me know how you go with this one too. Okay, self-love healing. First of all, we ID age to find out where this originated, where the self-doubt, or where there was lack of love, or where there was something that programmed someone to say they're not worth much. Okay, 57, 50, 40, 30, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Okay, so age 15, Maria, what do you recall?
That time was the winter when I want to go to the school, and it was a big snow.
Big storm? So
yes.
you couldn't go to school?
I couldn't go to the school.
Okay.
And next day when I went to the school,
yes,
my teacher was very nasty to me, and I just paralyzed. I couldn't talk.
You were paralyzed. The teacher was
yes.
nasty and you couldn't talk. Paralyzed
yes.
you. You're kind of in
yes.
shock of the treatment from the teacher.
I couldn't say any word. Just
really?
I stand like a statue in front of him.
Wow. Well, that's very profound. So that's had a profound impact on you, and it's done some programming about your self-worth. So you need some love, and this will work really well. Self-love healing. All right. So apply the recreation healing correction, which is in the protocol as recreation healing. I'm going to say all the statements for Maria. But normally you would get the client to say it, just because we've gone through this correction before, and she's saying she's getting quite emotional in these healings, so it's hard for her to speak up. So I'm just going to talk her bit, and I'll just say you feel and so forth. So go back in time when that trauma or stress occurred. What was it you were seeing, or what was it you were feeling? What was it that you needed? What did you need back then?
Just the understanding is somebody listening me.
Yeah, it's some kindness.
Yes, it's just somebody,
to understand.
Attention and
okay.
Yes.
You are now going to give to yourself the healing that you needed at that time. Take yourself now from your current age and go back to that time. So Maria, imagine yourself now, you're 57, go back in that time, visualize you going back to that girl at 15, where she's standing there in shock, in horror, paralyzed from the treatment she got from the teacher, and tell them that you understand them. You know how they felt. Explain that you are here to give them what they need. You are here to heal them. Hold them close to you and hug her. Tell her that she is loved, that you will take care of her, and let your heart heal her pain and suffering and the trauma that she had. Hold them until they feel the pain and suffering is healed. Now place both hands over your heart center, which is the center of your chest. Sometimes I put my hands over there, it's totally optional, or on the side. I just keep myself in contact with the client. Now place your hands over your heart center, which is the center of your chest. Begin to pull your awareness into your heart area. Feel a flow of energy channeling through to release the blocks that have caused your heart to tighten or close off. The heart chakra stands as the center of all energies and unifies your being as a whole. It is the point around which all energies revolve. Your heart chakra allows the expression of unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness. A clearing of the heart chakra will improve this interaction, improve your healing to your whole entire body. Taking a deep breath, release all the pain and suffering as you breathe out. Now breathe in love to heal you. You are now ready to release the suffering, pain, fear, the guilt, the sorrow, loss, anger, powerlessness, or resentment that has held you back. You are now ready to release the emotions that closed your heart. Allow energies of pink warm light wash over you and enter your heart. Let it travel into every cell, every fiber of your being. Receive the love that is given to you freely. The color is a soothing pink. Feel and see yourself drawn into it. Feel and see yourself passing through the walls of a pink mist, and see and feel the mist encase your entire being. Now see and feel this mist change to a vortex of powerful energy surrounding you. You feel it channeling through your heart chakra as it opens, and your heart ready for healing and allowing yourself to be free from your past. See and feel yourself strong and tall and empowered. See and feel yourself free and ready to move forward. See yourself as love. It is your gift to be and live in your power. I just need an energy shift there. Okay, so that's, I can just still feel that energies shifting on that one. And now the next step for self-love is the love and light immersion correction. So again, it's speaking through affirmations and statements. So I just say, see and feel the presence of angels surrounding you with their wings outstretched. See and feel yourself experiencing their presence and desire to heal you. Now see and feel yourself in a place where you feel safe, a place where you can feel peace, or a place where you feel love. See and feel a large green mountain overlooking other rolling mountains with your arms outstretched. Feel the wind and sun energize your entire body. See and feel the freedom of being connected to the earth, and the energies of the blue sky vibrate through every cell of your body. Outstretch your arms and let yourself fall back on the long, thick green grass that cushions your fall. Look up to that never-ending blue sky and feel the rays of the warm sun over your entire body. See and feel the freedom and peace this place brings you. Now see and feel all your family, friends, or peers who have ever supported you, those who have cared or loved you, now in your presence. Look at their faces and feel their love heal you. Feel it fill your heart. Experience the power of what love can do and the power of healing that it has. Hear the messages they have come to give you, which is, you are more than you could ever imagine. If only you knew how much you are loved. Now thank them for their support, love and support. Look again at all the people who sent you love and see and feel all that love that you've given them. Now fill your heart with this love. Send this love into your heart and feel love for yourself. This is who you really are. This is who you are here to be. This is what you are meant to experience. You are love. Now choose to be this love. Now I just get an energy shift for completion. So that's the love and light immersion correction. So, and then there'll be one affirmation that we scan for, which is 1 to 13 affirmations. So I can test, is it 1 to 5 to 6 to 7? It's number 7. So, and it says, I choose to accept constructive criticism in a positive manner. So what may happen, why this one may come up, is that Maria may feel that she's been criticised when someone tries to explain something to her, and she may take it as in, oh, this is making sense. So as is that teacher that was highly critical of her and saying, why didn't you come to school? And there was snow on the road, so she couldn't even get to school. And it was criticism. So whenever anyone actually tries to perhaps give her some advice or constructive criticism, it may bring back that past episode when she was criticised. So hence why it's probably a stress for her when she feels like she's being told off when they're just trying to give her perhaps some constructive criticism. So you just need to say, Maria, I choose to accept.
I choose to accept
constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism.
In a positive manner.
In a positive manner.
There you go. Did you understand what I was saying about when someone's trying to tell you, maybe this might be a better way, or they give you some, you will go back and it will trigger some stress of when that teacher was unfairly criticising you. So therefore it would be hard for you it would bring up the stress when people tell you, maybe an idea that you should do or shouldn't do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's for the self-love healing. Let's just get an idea of that episode that Maria had with the teacher, because it had a charge on it. We didn't ascertain the number, but we can just ask her, if you go back now to that time when you're 15 and that teacher did that to you, does it feel calmer for you?
Yes, much more calmer.
Yeah. Did you feel something shifting in that one? Yeah.
Yes, it was very peaceful.
Peaceful, yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful healing. It's like
I saw myself, and it was really nice. And
what did you see?
I saw myself when I visualized myself, and I hugged and loved myself.
Oh, yes.
It was really, very nice.
She saw her and hugged herself. It's very powerful.
Even the teacher just disappeared.
And the teacher disappeared and all of that.
Yes.
And that's taken off that edge off that past trauma. That's beautiful. Thank you. Sacrifice. This is one of the most common habits that people have. Normally, they come to me because that is what they create in their life. They create ways to sacrifice themselves. Many forms, whether it's financial, whether it's their health, whether it's their relationships. This sacrifice correction, this whole topic is, I could talk for days on. It is very common for people that are in a healing profession, people that are in a giving profession. They choose that as a way to give of their service, to give of themselves, and very much it's often giving more than they get back. This comes from past lives because healers have been sacrificed, they've been persecuted. It can come from past life abuse, past life traumas, low self-worth. It's something that can come through, and it's also created in this life. And I find it very common for someone that has these habits to have had a childhood where parents fight, parents abuse, or their feelings aren't taken into account. The child does not have a say. The child is put in a midst of turmoil, chaos, and it's like they're not appreciated, they're not valued, and not respected. And then this continues in their adulthood. They actually think that their value comes from how much they can give, how much it hurts to give. It's a very religious type of belief system because Christ is worshipped. He sacrificed himself, and he was in a lot of pain, and so he is worth a lot. And it's a belief system that often is ingrained that you need to hurt, you need to be in pain and suffering to be worth anything. If it doesn't, it's not painful, then you're not worth much. And I need to say that this is wrong. This is a wrong belief system. Because if that is what you believe, and it's often subconscious, then that is what you create. Life isn't. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to show people that that's what our worth is. This often comes from mothers that have done it, or fathers that have done it also. They've been a role model of sacrificing themselves, doing a job they haven't liked, suffering in a relationship, putting up with things. Is something that's often learned. So when you can bring this to the attention of your client, you can then say to them, how do you sacrifice yourself? What is it that you do when you don't get back? Now let's look at some of the things that you do. And they may say, well, I always say yes. And I say, do you say yes to things you don't really want to say yes to, you really don't want to do, but you're thinking, oh, I should, because otherwise I'm not a good person. What will they think? So you start bringing this awareness to the client of how every day they make sacrifice decisions. And when this sacrifice connection, belief system, or vow or contract, whatever it is, when this is released, then it frees them up. It's like they almost feel like they have to do or have to say yes. But taking this one off, very powerful to free someone up. And also bring to their awareness that they're not meant to suffer, they're not meant to hurt, they're not meant to be in pain. They're meant to look after themselves first. And I've heard Oprah say it, many people say it, that if you're a mother and if you're not looking after yourself first, how can you look after your children? Because you're not much use to them. Half a mother, a sick mother, a dead mother. I had one client that she was Italian, very common for Italians to do this, and she would just give in her relationship with her husband, give to those around her, very much give, and it wasn't coming back the other way. And I said, tell me about your mother. She said, and her mother died when she was young. She died of, I think, all sorts of complications in her health because she never looked after herself. She put herself second. And I said to her, can you see how would you not preferred your mother to have looked after herself first and still be here? And I said, you cannot repeat the same pattern. You need to be first in your life. Your health needs to come first. So just bringing this whole awareness to the client lets them see in their day-to-day lives what choices they're making. For the healing, there's the client repeats that they cut and release all their sacrifice cords and beliefs, and that then can free them up. I know it's a small correction as it may seem because it's only some statements. However, powerful statements, and if you can't get through, if you don't get an energy shift, you may have to go into another correction in this. But releasing this from the client, very powerful, very freeing. Changing sacrifice habits. So this is where we ask the client how they sacrifice themselves in their life, and for them to give you ways that they sacrifice themselves. So you were talking about your clients. You give a lot to your clients, is that correct?
Yes.
And you made a comment before.
The family same story.
The what? The family's the same. You keep giving. And you made a comment and you said, well, this is important to my client when you keep giving, right?
Yes, yes.
Interesting comment. She's not thinking about herself, and if she's got a family that's taking and taking, or she's giving and giving, and then she's got clients, there's not much left of you sometimes as you've given out instead of balancing yourself out. There's nothing wrong with giving, but it needs to be in balance, and you need to look after you first, because you can only do that for such a certain amount of time before you are depleted, and they call it burnout. So yeah, okay, now so that's ways that you do that. So we can also ask why you do that. Why do you keep giving to them?
Because I
Is
think
that guilt, or is that because you feel better about you for giving? It's like, is that your self-worth by saying I'm helping them?
I think if I'm not doing that, I'm feeling bad. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
they need that.
Okay,
or
so you
this
feel
is
guilty.
important,
So
and
you
I'm not helping for them.
Okay, so you feel guilty.
Yes.
All right, so she does that out of guilt. Rightio. So, how could you change that? That's the third question. How can she change that situation for the future? Let's say a client calls up and wants to talk to you and you're like busy and you've got things to do, but how could you change that next time? What could you say? What could you do?
Well,
they struggle
maybe.
with this because they're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? I can't say no. I
didn't
can't
think
tell them
about-
no. I haven't
Yes.
thought about what I'll say. So this is, if you actually talk the client through and help them with what they can say, they're ready and they're not off guard. So I like to teach my clients that beautiful line, thank you for calling. I've got a lot to do at this time. Can I help you tomorrow? Let me talk about this tomorrow because then I can give you more of my time. At the moment, I'm in the middle of something. And so I'm giving her some ideas of how Maria could perhaps handle people that keep calling or are trying to take of her time. So you could start off by saying, thanks for calling. I'm busy or whatever. Now, can you see yourself perhaps saying that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, she's thinking she can see.
Yes.
So give her some sort of practical way to handle it. Now she's ready. And sometimes I do a role play. So I could pretend I'm a client and I can ring her up on the phone and I can say, Maria, I'm really quite desperate. I just don't know what to do. My boyfriend's dumped me. What would you say? You're in the middle of something, you got lots on and you just don't have
Yes.
much time. What could you say to me?
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, Marisa. You call me, but at the moment I am very busy, but I can give you more time, and we can discuss a little bit later. And maybe afternoon I will call you back, or tomorrow morning, and I have more time.
Great. Right, she's now done something she's probably never done before. She said no.
Yes.
And look at her, that's the first time. So now she's preparing ways to say, hey, I matter and I'm not going to disperse my energy. So that's a good little role play to make. Now let's work out where this all came from. Let's look at an age. So now I go ID age. 57, 50, 40, 30, 20, 28. Age 28. All right, what was happening at age 28, Maria?
That was when we moved back to my country.
So you moved back to Hungary.
Yes. And
Did you have any children?
yes, one.
Had one child. Did you want to go back? Whose idea was it to go back?
Yes, we
Who's
plan
it?
to go back.
Did you want to?
Yes, we need to move back.
You needed to move
because
back.
My child belonged to my previous husband, and already I was married second time that time.
Okay, so the child was to the first husband. So you
Yes.
needed to take him back.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but originally we planned to move back too, but that was another reason. So two reasons.
So your life is around actually pleasing everyone else and having to satisfy other people. Not so much what you need, it's what
Yes.
everyone else needs.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so let's get on to the statements then. And what you do is you send a message out to the universe. If you keep saying, yes, I'll sacrifice by doing something you don't have the time for, you don't have the energy for, or not putting yourself first, you send that message to the universe, and the universe says, oh, Maria loves to give of herself. She loves to put herself last. We'll give her lots of ways to do that. We'll send her lots of people. Because then you'll get the people that are able to take of your time and energy. Whereas if Maria says, no, I respect me, I'm happy to help, but I need to respect me first, the universe goes, Maria loves herself, Maria appreciates herself, so let's bring in those conditions and people that give her that feeling that she's respected and loved. That's just how it works. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, repeat after me. I, Maria, choose to safely release
I, Maria, I choose to safely release
all sacrifice cords,
all sacrifice cords,
beliefs,
beliefs,
habits,
rituals,
debts and feelings of guilt,
debts and
feelings of guilt
feelings of guilt
that is not reflecting
that is not reflecting
my divine worth.
my divine worth.
I choose to know
I choose to know
that my self-worth
that myself know,
is not dependent
not dependent
on sacrificing myself.
on sacrificing myself.
I choose to free myself
I choose to free myself
from these negative connections.
from the negative connections.
It is my gift
It is my gift
to be
to be
and live in my power.
living in my power.
So I need an energy shift on that to make sure that's all done. Now Maria is going to have to get back to us on how she's changing the way people interact with her. So you let us know. Sabotage, a very common occurrence with clients. They sabotage areas of their health. When sabotage comes up, I'll ask the client, do you know what sabotage means? Because sometimes they don't. They're not quite sure of it. And I'll explain it in the way I'll say sabotage is like, for instance, you may sabotage your finances, meaning that you may get paid, and when you get paid, somehow the money goes. It's like the car breaks down. You know, the dentist, you have to go to the dentist and get a crown. It's like your money is sabotaged in some way from you trying to save. You may have the intention of saving the money, but it just goes. And or even they can obviously sabotage by going just spending all their money. But when there's a sabotage, it's in the subconscious, and it brings in situations to cause chaos, to cause disruption to whatever they're trying to achieve. Now, sabotage originates in France. It was in the 1800s when the French workers would throw their sabots, which is their wooden shoes, into the machinery, and this would bust up the machinery. It would stop production. It would halt it. So that's where it originated, from when workers would halt the production of where they were working. So sabotage, when this comes up, it'll be finding what sort of sabotage the client has. And there is a scan list for sabotage. Often there could be a sabotage on standing in their power. And that means that they avoid, stretching themselves. They avoid being noticed. They avoid putting themselves in places that could take them forward and help them be happier and more constructive with their life. Or they'll attempt to do something and then something shoots them down. So these are types of sabotages. So identifying what the sabotage is, and then for the healing, it's putting it in the sabotage releasing statements will then release it from the body. And also brings the client an awareness of, oh, I do have a sabotage on this. So all the awareness helps with the healing. So great correction again. Get rid of the sabotages in someone's life, and so things just will flow more smoothly, and they can attract those things that they are wanting to attract. Okay, sabotage, release, healing. This is how we sabotage ourselves. We create ways to stop us from progressing with certain things. On this sabotage list, there's 80 options to look at what ways we sabotage, so it'll let us know, and then we ID the age to find out when it kind of got programmed. So let's have a look at yours. We'll look at the list. It's got 80 there, so I can go looking at 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 46, 47. Logic. It's coming up that you have a sabotage on logic. Now, logic is like reasoning. What you put 2 and 2 together equals 4. So you sabotage what is logical. So where someone says something to you, and it may be, as I said, they might say 2 and 2 is 4, but you sabotage that. You don't believe them, or you do something contrary. Anyway, we'll work that one out. Let's look at the age. 57, 50, 40, 30, 20, 19, 18. Back on 18. 18 is when you met your first husband, right? So if you were to sabotage on logic, was there any logical thing that showed that perhaps he wasn't the right person? Was there anything said?
I thought he's the right person, but
Yeah.
what I heard, just I couldn't believe that. I didn't understand, and I didn't ask why she said.
Said what? Who said
She
what?
said it's like we can die, and he not realized.
Who said that?
My boyfriend mother.
The boyfriend's mother said, we can die, and he won't even realize.
Yes.
So which means that he doesn't, she's saying that he doesn't care about us, maybe. He doesn't, it's not in his mindset to be concerned. That's kind of a weird thing to say. But you didn't really realize what that meant. Is that what you're saying?
No, I just was surprised that time, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure why
Yeah.
she's saying this.
Okay. Did you
And
ask her?
I couldn't ask. Just somehow I just
Yes,
look at her.
that's your sabotage. So there's a
Yes.
sabotage on you actually finding them logically. What does that all mean?
Yes.
And if you knew you were going to marry or end up marrying someone that wouldn't even care what happened to you, you would start logically going, well, he's not the right person. Doesn't matter what my heart's feeling. Logically, this is not the right guy. Because that is a very strange thing for a mother to say. That he wouldn't care if we died. So, very good one to work on for you. So basically, we found that information. We made sense of it. Try and put the story together. You need to say, Maria, I, Maria,
Maria,
choose to safely release
choose to safety release
self-sabotage behaviours
self-sabotage behavior
relating to logic
relating to logic
at the age of 18.
at the age of 18.
That's related to the age 18. Okay. I choose to free
I choose to free
and empower and be empowered in my life choices.
and
Be empowered in my life
power
choices.
in my life choices.
It is my gift
It is my gift
to be and live in my power.
to living in my power.
You are now free to go forward with strength, happiness and power to reach your full potential from this point forward, and I wait for the energy shift. And there it goes. So take off that sabotage of you reasoning things out logically, making decisions including logic. Because when you can include your heart and logic, when they both marry up, then it's a really good decision. But when you've got logic telling you that's wrong and it's not adding up, and then your heart, there's a mismatch. It should normally just come together.
Maybe just I don't want to hear the answer.
Yeah, well,
because I'm scared to lose him.
Exactly, but that's your sabotage.
Yes. Yeah,
That's your
I know
sabotage. It's
now.
like, don't sabotage your life. I mean, that's a big decision, marrying somebody. All right, so that's great. Thanks.